Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, it arrived. So I got lots of work ahead of me to do. But as you can see right here, we've got the Cheetah, the old turbocharger from Fleece. We got that, and we also got their return full drain tube. So it makes the installation easier. And just went ahead and got the oil feed line as well. So now we have AN fittings on those. So that'd be just a little nice touch from factory. And here's your little swag packs, stickers. Here's the turbo flange gasket and hardware for that. But here is the precious gem. See if we can get this thing out of here. Just look at all of its beauty. It's very nice. Oh yeah, pretty. And it does turbo things. Nice. Get that cover back up. Don't want nothing going in it just yet. But here's what she's going in. It's my 16 gram 2500 stock. All stock. The only thing it's really got on it is the step bars, and as far as anything else, just that. She's a little dirty, and the only reason why I keep her stock-ish, because I pull a fifth wheel camper, so don't want to be going up hot in truck or anything like that and have the rear of the camper sitting on the ground. It's not ideal. But this is her in all of her glory. But what we're going to do to get started, as anything you're working on, digital or anything like that, like I said, she is a little dirty. I'll clean her up once I get turbo put in. But disconnect that battery and that battery right there, and get that disconnected. We'll go ahead, get the air intake and all the tubing down to the turbo out of the way, and we'll get the power steering reservoir. We'll just take it loose with the boat there and kind of move it back here out of the way. And I don't know if you can see it down there or not. Probably not. But we gotta drain the coolant, and I do believe it takes a 10 mil Allen head. So we'll get the coolant drained, and we'll get that much done, and then I'll bring you back for the next steps. And there's going to be multiple steps of this. Think, if I'm not mistaken, Thoroughbred Diesel put a very nice detailed video out. If you need any more detailed, because I'm not going to be very detailed in that. It's already been done, and they've done a good job with it. So if you need more information on some stuff that I may leave out, go check them out. It's a very good video I watched. Very helpful, so definitely check them out for sure. But yeah, I'll bring you back once I get this stuff done. Alrighty, we got that much stuff taken out so far, as you can see. But yeah, we got the I went ahead and put the power steering reservoir back in its place because well, we don't need to take it back off again. But I did get all the coolant drained. Just in reference, once you get it draining, do take off the reservoir cap so that it can breathe, and then all the coolant will drain. And it does take a while, or it did in my case. I think 3.5, maybe 4 gallons drained out, and it did take a while. So be cautious of that. But now, before really dig in to doing oil lines and coolant lines and all that, I think the next step I want to do is take out the inner fender well liner. We'll get the tire taken off and put it on jack stand, so that I should be able to reach in here better to get to a few things. Just make it easier on that. And probably go ahead and take this solenoid off. I think it's for some type of heater solenoid, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on it. So I'm not for sure exactly, but we'll get that thing off too. Just trying to get things that are in and around that's going to help us pull this thing out before, like I said, before I even get into the coolant lines and oil lines and all that jazz. But I'll get that much done, and I'll bring you back for some more steps. All right, we got that little solenoid, got it off. Just connected these battery cables that ran to it, and then these little wires right here, which just little push-ons. So I just took them off, and then I just went ahead and removed this little clip here that held this battery cable in, so we can move it around when it comes to get the turbo out. And as far as the liner, the fender inner liner goes, it came out pretty simple. Broke a couple of the Christmas tree push pins. Other than that, I mean, just easy to replace those. But that came out. For a reference for anybody, if you've got the little fender bump outs, little trim pieces like this, the extend a fender, whatever you want to call them, it did separate, so I'll have to get some glue or more 3M double-sided sticky tape and redo those when I go to put it back on. But other than that, it came off pretty simple, and man, these things do hold a lot of dirt inside of them. Man, did not know that, but that's part of it looking good, I guess. But other than that, that's that much more out of the way. I think now we will start on getting the down pipe elbow here. We'll get this off, separated from here and here, and then we'll take off that sensor. I think that's the knock sensor. So just 2 little bolts on each side here, one on the other side, and then take that off, and we'll get an O2 sensor socket to break that loose. Just a free spinning nut. So once we break it loose, it can spin on its own, and none of this other stuff will turn. So that'll be the next step, is getting that, and the transmission cooler lines. Let's see if I can get under here, get you a better shot of it, so I can tell you the right thing. Yeah, it's right here. So we'll separate this bracket from this bracket. I think it's just this bolt right here. We'll separate that so they both can move on their own, and then we'll get this bracket. We'll get this bracket here loose so that all of this right here can flex if need to, so we can have more, get it moved out of the way better. But yeah, slowly but surely we're getting her closer to uninstall the turbo. But yeah, it's gonna definitely open it up so we can get to some better stuff. And get some, I think there's a few more harder to get boats, so we'll get there. But I'll definitely bring you back once I get this sorted out of the way. Okay, we got the elbow off. Those V-band clamps were, oh my goodness, they were a nightmare. But I finally got them broke loose without tiring them up or anything like that. And as you can see, we got the downpipe loose. And that was by that bracket right there. We got that separated, so all that's good now. I think from what I could see here, we got that knock sensor. Just got it moved out of the way. And then I guess let's get this charge pipe out. Once we get it out, and then I think we'll start with the coolant and the oil line. So I'll get the charge pipe out, and then I'll get those lines off, and then I'll bring you back. Alrighty, we got the coolant line off. We got the oil feed line off. And then we went ahead and disconnected the turbo speed sensor, just right there. And we'll leave that attached to the turbo. And then we'll just take it off, put it on the new turbo once we get this out. That way we're not putting anything in the bind or anything like that. Be much easier to do. So now the only thing left on the top side would be probably the actuator plug right there and the old battery. That should be it on the top side, except for if you can see that gray bolt right there. It should be right there. The motor mount. We do gotta loosen it up, and then we'll get our cherry picker over here and attach it to here, this ring, and we'll lift the motor up about 1 inch. But before we do this stuff right here, we've got a coolant line and the oil drain line that we've got to remove. And those bad boys are up under there. Right there you can see the oil drain tube. And then the coolant line is up underneath there too. So it may take me a little bit to get those loose, but that's what we're going to do next. And I'll get that done, and I'll get the battery out and that actuator plug undone. And then go ahead and get that bolt loose on the engine mount. And then I'll bring you back once I get that done. But so far, it's not going bad. It's time sensitive because, you know, especially if it's your first time taking a turbo out. So you definitely want to take your time, watch what you're doing, and that way you keep a track of where everything goes back when it's time to go back together. Not that hard. But, you know, to some it may be. To be honest, it really isn't that bad. Just take your time, like I said. But yeah, I'll bring you back once I get ready to hook the cherry picker up. Okay, man, what a job, what a job. As you can see, I got the plug undone. I did get those drains. The two, one bolt on the oil drain was very simple. The other was a nightmare. I definitely recommend buying a socket swivel. All I had was a long 1/4" extension that had the little swivel on the top. It gave it just enough, but it was still a pain to get. And of course, the coolant drain, that was a nightmare as well, because you barely could get a wrench in here to get to it. And as you can see up right there, you just had to take your time. And the next worst thing was getting those stud nuts broken loose. I had a time and a half with those. I did use some propane. I got 3 with that, but then I had to bring out the nap gas to get the last one, because that thing did not want to break loose, and I had to heat it up 4 or 5 times with the nap gas just to get enough heat in it and soaked. So I finally got it broke loose. But the time is here. We do have the cherry picker hooked up, and I do have it lifted about 1 inch. I don't know if you can tell from the previous shot I had of it, but that nut is basically up at the top of the mount. So we're about 1 inch, and that's going to give us enough room for those studs to drop out. And like everybody else says, be extra careful when you take this thing down, because you do not want to crush your transmission coolant lines. So take your time, lay something under there to help protect, soften if you do drop it. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, so we're gonna get those nuts popped off there, and then once we get her dropped out, I'm gonna move it this way, and then I'm gonna clock the whole thing this way to where the actuator is pointed up. And that should give us enough room to pull this thing out. But that's what we're about to do. I would bring you a shot of that, but I just don't have a tripod yet, and I've just been too lazy to get one, or overthinking it and just forget it. So, but this will give you an example. And like I said, Thoroughbred Diesel put out a really good video, so definitely go back and watch them. They explain it a little bit better than I am, and they do show you some removal tips and stuff like that, and how to remove it out. So, but yeah, let's get this thing out. I'll bring you back once I got it out. Well, as you can see, we got her out. I just do an old hoodie, laid it down in there so everything will be good and well protected. And see, it didn't even make a mark on those lines, so that's all in good. But now what we'll do is that we got it out, as you can see here. We'll definitely take this off. It's supposed to go inside the other turbo, but I upgraded for the fleece oil feed line. So we'll just keep that in case we need it for something else. But we've got to take this speed sensor out. Just a little 8mm bolt right there, I do believe. And then you'll be careful taking it out. There is an O-ring that we may have to pull out there as well that goes with that sensor. But other than that, just those two things. And now swap over to the other turbo, and that's it. So she's out. I think the truck's got, like I said, about 89,000 miles on it. So the old actuator started acting up. But, I mean, there's no play in that. And it still spins. Does turbo things. But, you know, after, you know, put a Band-Aid on it with another actuator, or just go ahead and replace it. So this truck is going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be my forever truck. So might as well put some good stuff into it. Make her work harder but easier, as they say, I guess, with better stuff. But yeah, so we'll get those done, get swapped over to the other, and then I'll show you what the new Cheetah looks like. Well, we've got the that oil feed adapter plug, got it out. We got the turbine speed sensor out, and we've got her installed on the new one. Now looking at it, there's not a big difference. It's basically the same turbo. Of course, I think they go inside the exhaust housing here and do some work. They change out the wheels. As you can see, there's that one. And then here's this one. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like there's a little bit of change, but not much. But here she is, the old Cheetah. We got that speed sensor installed, and then we went ahead and installed the new oil feed. We went to an AN, which is their Fleece's oil feed line tube. So we got that bad boy installed. But the turbo's ready to go back in. I'll take you over here to the truck. I got to show you a few things to do before we put it in there. If you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and change the gaskets out, or the seals on that coolant return banjo bolt fitting there. That way those are new and they're down there. I ain't having to struggle getting those on with the turbo on. But I'll go ahead and change those out, and then go ahead and throw my hoodie back down there to protect everything. Trying to think, and I'm gonna go ahead and change out the oil filter, since it's easily to get to right now, and go ahead and drain the oil. And that way, when I go to, after I put the turbo on and get the coolant return and get the oil drain tube connected, I can go ahead and put some new oil in the turbo. And this is a must. You must do this on the new turbo. Is once it's on the engine, I'll just feed some oil down in here, turn the turbo, try to get as much oil down in those bearings as possible. That's why I want to drain the oil and stuff, so that I'm not putting new oil in with the old. It's already ready for new oil, so we'll just do all that at one time. But yes, cannot stress this enough. Make sure you put oil in this thing and get the bearings pre-lubed up. If not, you will kill the turbo. I know it's a harsh word. Nobody wants to hear it. But that's what's going to happen. So, just trying to think off the top of my head if there's anything else that needs to be said at this time. But I don't think there is. But if there is, I'll bring you back and I'll tell you about it. But since you kind of saw me do the removal, it's basically reverse order. Oh, and I need to, while I'm thinking of it, I just saw it there on the turbo, is I need to change out that stud right there. So change that out real quick for a new bolt stud. But yeah, I think that's about it. Everything's in reverse order. Nothing real special about anything because you dealt with it getting everything apart. So it says just reverse order. Once I get it back together, like I said, if I have any problems, I'll let you know about it. But we'll get it back together, and we'll say it again, put oil in the turbo before you start the truck up. So, and then once we get started up, I think Fleece wants you to let it idle for about 3-5 minutes or so, just so if there is any contaminants, the oil will flush it out, so that you're not ripping on it and turning it up within the first 10 minutes of putting it together. So, but yeah, we'll bring you back after that. Just want to throw this in there real quick too. Once the turbo is out, the oil drain line, what you want to do is get it to where you can move it side to side. That way you know the oil rings or the O-rings are loose. And all you got to do is just get a hold of it and just shank it straight up. The new pipe from Fleece, you can put it in after the turbo is installed because it is flexible. So that makes it a lot easier to install. But just want to give you a little something on that. But we'll carry on. Alright, I'll just give you a little update. When you're installing your elbow, I took a little brass wire wheel and cleaned up all that area. And this is the gasket that I'm replacing it with, in case you need to get one as well. See if we can get the part number. Here you go. That's the part number right there. Just in case you need to get one as well. That's what I got. And I think that's what Thoroughbred Diesel sells on their website. Just to give you a little update here. Oh, about fell. That'd be nice. She's in. Got the engine bolt tightened back up. And the coolant line was definitely easier to put back on than it was to take off. I'll go in here and show you in case you run into it as well. The Fleece oil drain tube, let's get in here. You see it right there. I had to see if I can get it. So the little heat shield that's down here somewhere. Let's see if I can see it. It's right behind that tube. The heat shield, I had to bend it down just a tad so that the rubber, the hose wasn't rubbing on it. Other than that, the front bolt towards the outside was pretty simple. The back bolt for that drain, it's a nightmare. Just take your time. You may have 10 million choice words to go along with it, but just you'll get there, trust me. But yeah, just want to give you a quick little update on how everything's going. Going pretty smooth, but just wanted to show you that gasket for that and everything else. So yeah. Alrighty, we're down to the final steps. I said everything is in. All the wires are connected. Coolant line, oil lines are in. Charge pipe is in. Yeah, we've got her. I've got the oil filter filled up with oil. I did put oil down in the turbo housing and spun the wheel quite a few times. So, you know, that's the one thing, like I said, that you want to make sure that you oil it. And it's a dreadful thing, like, did I do enough oil or did I not do enough oil? But, you know, those housings don't hold very much oil at all. So, you know, just getting some oil down in there and spinning it around, it's no different than running the engine and shutting it off. It's all going to drain out anyways. So, but yeah, everything's connected. So yeah, the thing we like now is the air intake box and tubing, and then finish topping off with oil and putting coolant in. So yeah, I'll just give you a look on down here what everything looks like. The elbow, knock center. I do need to put a zip tie on that bad boy real quick. But yeah, you can see everything is in place. Looks good. So yeah. Okay, we're doing a visual check because she is all together. Making sure that everything is buttoned up. And I've topped it off with coolant. And I've topped it off with oil. Even put oil in the turbo housing, like I said. We ain't got no leaks, so that's good. We've got everything back together in here. You can't even see the thing now. It's all covered up. Give you a little look. Yeah, got everything topped off, and I just resetted all codes that the actuator was throwing, so we shouldn't have any of those. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this thing going. Sorry for the beeping, but we want to make sure that we get right there so we can watch that oil pressure. Here goes nothing. Immediately, oil pressure. That is good. That was the one concern I was worried about. That makes me happy. So let's go out here and check for leaks. see no visual leaks nowhere. Everything looks dry. That's just where I was putting the oil in the housing earlier, and some of it leaked around the inlet tube there, so that's where that was from. Yeah, I'm very pleased with her. Well, let's go ahead and get this cap open so that she can burp herself. And we're going to sit here and let her idle. I think Fleece said in their paperwork, fire it up and just let it idle. They said 3 minutes. We'll let her idle for about 5, and that way it flushes out any contaminants that might be in the housing. That way you're not putting pressure or load on it and hurting anything. But yeah, we'll let that thing idle for a little bit, and I'll bring you back here in a little bit, and so might be able to give a little bit of throttle, but we'll bring you back for that. Alright guys, here's going to be some throttle for you. Maybe you can hear the turbo whistle and all that. Just giving it a little test drive out through here. Check out the exhaust brake. She does feel a little stronger. Really don't know about the noise level, if it's louder or not, but it definitely feels like it's engaging better. We'll get up here and see if we can get some actual turbo noises. But so far, oil pressure's fine. Coolant temp is running fine. I got to make sure I keep an eye on that and make sure that we get it all the air burped out of the system. So sorry, I wish I could get you a little bit better view of the road, but you kind of get an idea. Let's see if we can turn down this road here and get you some turbo noises. Not as loud as I want it to be. I was hoping to get a little bit louder for you. Jake brake definitely feels a lot better. We can probably turn around right here. Well, these people coming. And hopefully it comes through on the microphone. But it sounds good. Figured it might be a little louder, but we'll definitely probably get. I noticed there was a crack in my air filter box, so we'll look into getting the banks, and we'll probably definitely get some more whistle noise with the banks cold air intake system. So, but yeah, that'll wrap it up for this video. Now I just got to put that fender flare back on, which that's no big deal. Some new 3M tape and put the screws back in. Pretty simple. Just got to do some more little maintenance, do some fuel filter changes on this thing, and rotate the tires. And she's about to get a workout. She'll be pulling the camper, so I'll definitely come back with that later on in another video, and just let you know how that turned out and how she pulls. I'll definitely drive her around the next couple of days, putting some minor loads on it, but now I'm pretty sure she's ready to go do some work. So with that being said, I hope you like this video, and hope it's educational to some. To some, they probably already know, but for the ones that don't, this is more of a dummied down version. Like I've said before, Thoroughbred Diesel has a really good video. Go check that out. It's more intuitive. That's where I learned how to do mine. So check them out. But yeah, with that being said, we'll catch you on the next.